from another consulting. I used to have licenses in real estate license in NSW, Queensland and Victoria, and also a lot of properties. So I know how things work in different states. Member of National Real Estate Association as well. Also, I started with $50 one-way ticket in '96. So I didn't come with a lot of money. Honestly, not more than $50. Okay, and now I have 13 properties. So it's why I'm telling this is not to boast, but just that it is possible. Okay. Yes, it's become a little bit difficult, but don't think some people say it was very easy 96, 97. Or you could, you could just go and get a loan and buy property at $180,000. Not that case. So it was, I think I can vouch for that. It was even more difficult those days. I mean, it looks as if the price was less, but at the same time, salaries were very less. Banks were horrible. It was not easy to get, and there was bank fees.
20% deposit.
Exactly. So it was not easy. Some people think it was just like cakewalk. You should just go and buy, and that's why you bought. Suddenly, it was not easy. It just takes a bit of thinking, some advice from other people who have done it, some research, and you can do it. So I was featured in one of these magazines in 2018 as one of the successful businessmen and a leader. So, okay, first of all, why I invest in property through SMSF? That's like one point I wanted to cover up. I think Raymond discovered part of it anyway. So I used to, from the day one, I realized the benefit of super. See, 15% tax is amazing. So even those days when Howard and other prime ministers we had it, the tax was huge, 48% in that bracket. That was nightmare. So this was fantastic because 15% tax is like straight away without doing anything. You are saving like nearly, just imagine 50 versus 50, 48. I rounded off to 50, but nearly 33, 32%. That's, you can't achieve that kind of a saving anywhere. Trust me, shares will get like 6% or 7%. Saving like 33% without doing anything. That's amazing. That's very powerful. If people analyze, that's very powerful. I just heard somebody telling that you will make a loss by, just now when I was sitting here, because interest rates are high. So interest rates, for example, 33% is your saving. Okay, on a general average, assuming that you are in the bracket of 47%. Even if you pay interest rates of 3% more or 4% more, you're still a huge saving. You're still saving 29%. So even if you're at a 42% bracket, even then you're saving huge. Even if you pay higher interest. Do you get my point? So yes, the interest rates are high because they're treated as commercial loan, but you'll still save a lot. And then somebody else was telling some negative gearing or something. Anyway, I'll come to the point in a minute. But I was investing my full money, whatever I could, both myself and my wife. But every time I was thinking, oh, super did very well. And then after a while, something happens, like dot bubble, what is that? Dot bubble. Something else will happen. Suddenly it drops, and all your savings for the last 2 years is gone. And then you have this COVID, beginning of COVID, dramatically dropped. Like whatever you have saved for the last 2-3 years is gone. And the worst one was GFC, global financial crisis. I lost about $120,000 in super, and something similar outside of super. That was like disaster for me, honestly, because I was invested very heavily. All my savings I invested. Worst case scenario was I was able to recoup a lot of my losses by the remaining whatever I had in the next 2 to 3 years. I made up all my losses, plus I made more than that, maybe $40,000 outside of super. But in the super, these supposed to be so-called specialists who are like analysts, paid very well. They were losing my money. Even after 2-3 years, they still kept losing my money. And the worst thing was they were charging me $2,000-3,000 to lose my money. But then I said, this is not right. I mean, this is horrible. So that's when I decided to go with it, because I had already some properties by that time outside of super. And I said, why can't I invest in SMSF? It was very difficult because my circle, nobody had done. I was the first one, as far as I know. I talked to like 50-60 people, nobody had done it. So I had to do a lot of my own research. We didn't have people like Raymond to get ideas those days. Anyway, I struggled hard, but then I was able to set up and get everything going. But then I realized I can see the benefits already. Like just one property which I bought 6 years ago in Burpengary, Nandan knows very well because he works for Happy Data, very resourceful man, don't leave him. And that one I bought it for 396. Now it's worth like 770. So 300. You can imagine, like $370,000 is not easy to save, just like that. Plus, it's positive from day one. And then this other one, which Nanda also invested, the one in Kingfisher, like he was there, he invested. So I got somebody to watch for me. So we bought it for 330,000. I bought it. He bought a double bedroom for 370 or something. Now that's worth, you know how much is it, right? How much is it now? 540 or 550 now. So that's like for 330, it's 550, 220,000, and from day one it is positive. From day one it is positive. So just imagine saving $220,000. Okay. So anyway, I personally think it's very powerful. Investing is very powerful, and SMSF is even more powerful. So, okay, why invest in property? So I'm just for your information. I'm invested in bitcoins, shares in India, shares in Australia, contract for differences, options. So I've done everything, to be honest. But one thing I really watch is that ultimately it comes down to property, that too in Australia, because India also have properties. They do well, but a lot of other headaches, just for nuisance. Society problem, that problem, this problem, encroachment problem. But here, it's like paper. I mean, yes, there are some issues, but in general, it's pretty easy. Okay. So one thing is, why do you invest in property? Inflation. If you don't do anything, just keep your money as it is, saving at the bank. You know what happens after 10 years, your money is worth a lot less because of inflation. Very simple. Okay. So what you could buy. Like 180,000, I bought my first housing land package in '99, and now the same thing is over $1 million. So if I just didn't invest, if I kept my money as it is, I would have to put a lot more money to buy the same property. You know what I mean? So if you don't do anything, just the inflation is so high, the bank interest are so low, it doesn't work out very well. So next is property is relatively safe. In India, at least you have to worry like, okay, they might sell it to other people, whatever, you're worried. But here, at least it's pretty safe from what I've seen so far. Easy to leverage, which I think Raymond covered already. Like, in shares, for example, you can only get, that he was talking about getting the leverage, and that only they give for the blue chip companies. Very few, you can't invest in all the different shares by using margin lending. They only give for very few, very well known, very stable companies only. So your leveraging is very, very minimal in other forms. Whereas with the property, easy to get 80%. You're a doctor, you can even get 95%. So, now it's 85%, okay?
Even accountant can get nowadays.
Is it? Okay. But either way, I'm just telling you. So forget all other people. So 80% for us, that's fantastic. You can get even more with the lender's mortgage insurance, but if it is 80, it's still fantastic compared to any other form. Great tax benefits. So you have a lot of other options for investing, but this one, you have a lot of benefits. For example, depreciation. So I show a lot of loss to the tax office. I technically don't make any loss in the first couple of years. And then you have this negative gain benefit. That's amazing. That's very, very too good. So government incentive. For example, you have the first home buyers grant. Again, does not apply for SMSF, but I'm just telling in general what are the benefits for property. So first home buyers grant, stamp duty exemptions. Nowadays, you can buy without stamp duty and pay over a period of time, with the land tax, the new change. So there are a lot of benefits. Other people say, okay, is it good time to invest? Because property prices are dropping. So you won't believe, I bought in 2004, I bought a house and land in front of Suresh's house in Kajula. I paid 482. This is 640 land, 5 bedroom, triple garage. And people, all my friends were telling, Moose is foolish, look, prices are dropping and this guy is buying, no clue, whatever. Now it's worth easily, just going by the land. I got a granny flat, I got a house. It's worth about 1.8 million easily. But even if you keep it less, you can't get that kind of money anywhere. Plus $1,100 roughly is the income from the two properties. So that kind of income you can't get from anything else. Okay, the other reason why I think market is good is because the rental property in general, 3% of vacancy rate is considered reasonable, okay, in Australia. So if it's anything less than 3%, it's considered bad, like less properties, so there's a huge shortage of demand. So if it's something like 2.4%, it's considered very bad, okay. Right now, in Brisbane, and by the way, I don't make up any numbers. I always put the screenshots with the link so that you know that it's all coming from authentic sources. That's from Sydney Morning Herald. And that's like, Brisbane is 0.6%, okay? And Perth is 0.4%. So this is ridiculously low vacancy rates, which means a huge shortage of properties right now, okay? Yeah, crazy, exactly, yeah. And these are the other figures, as you can see here, like 0.4% Adelaide, 0.3% Toowoomba. So it's horribly like shortage of property. There is a shortage of properties, okay? And then, okay, number of students coming in, okay? We roughly have about 570 students coming to study in Australia, and most of the people don't go back. They want to stay here. They try to get a job here, apply for PR. Most of them are successful. But that's the number. So you're adding so many people, okay? On top of that, as you might know, recently they announced they increased to 190,000 people to migrate, to the new after the COVID. So just imagine, and that's going to increase. That's not going to reduce. I'll just show you in a minute why. Okay, and why invest in Australia? Safe country, stable country, good governance in general, high rental returns compared to India and other places. So the migration numbers, you can say, that's the increase which you already know, that number of people coming in. So this is from Treasury, from Australia. So they're projecting 36 million people in 2050. So they don't just make up numbers. They have the strategy, they have the allocated numbers for migration. So these are all like solid numbers. So 36 million people, 10 million people are coming in. So they need housing. So technically, it's not like a crappy investment where you do and then tomorrow nobody's buying. It's not like that. So in general, it's pretty safe. Okay, this is the number of migrants who are coming to Australia. Okay, in 31, 32, there were nobody coming. People were going out. This is from a long time. This is from Australia Bureau of Statistics. So this is in thousands. So in about 95,000 people were coming, and then again, there was a time in around 2009 there were 300,000 coming. So it's varying, but in general, you can see a trend. What's happening? Is it increasing or reducing? In general, it's increasing. Why is that increase? Is it because suddenly Australians started loving migrants, or is there a reason? The reason is this: number of people going out of the workforce. So it used to be somewhere here, and like you can see here, about 22. These are the percentage of people going out of the workforce. Okay, 65 and over. Okay, and now the projection is like it's going to get worse. So a lot of people are going out of workforce, so they don't have a choice but to get more migrants to compensate. Okay, they tried baby boomers, whatever. First thing is, it didn't work very well. The numbers didn't go up as much as they expected. Second thing is, they have to invest on a kid for 20 years before the kid can start giving back to the community. The easy way is to get migrants, skilled migrants. Within weeks, they are contributing to the country. So that's the way. Okay, that explains why it's not going to change in the immediate future. Okay, other statistics, I'll just skip that for now because I'm running a little bit out of time. Okay, benefits of investing in SMSF. Again, just make sure that you take it with the disclaimer. Okay, certain benefits: reduce capital gains tax before retirement, and after retirement, there's no capital gains tax. So, you covered the tax part, which is the 15%, but capital gains is zero. That's very, very powerful. For example, if you make say for example, you buy a property for 400,000. Okay, you sell it for 800,000, like in year 70. Okay, the increase is $400,000. Okay, so the capital gains is 400. Because you're headed for more than 12 months, which is 1 year. So 50% is discounted as of now. So you made 200,000. Okay, if you're still earning that time, assuming that you're not fully retired, you will end up paying capital gains on the 200,000. So assuming that you're on the highest bracket, you will end up paying nearly $95,000 just with capital gains on the property after taking the discount into consideration. Same property in self-managed super fund, if you sell it after retirement, capital gains is zero. So straight away, it's a huge saving in one property. So if you have 2 or 3 or 4 properties, just imagine like how much beneficial it is. Okay, so it makes a huge difference. There are other things to consider.
If you sell it before retirement, even in SMS, you'll only pay 10%.
So if you hold it for more than 1 year,
yeah,
and then if you sell it before retirement, even 15%, it's still beneficial.
Yeah.
Compared to outside.
But you can't use that money. That money
Yeah.
will stay in the super.
So whatever we talk in SMSF, you have to understand you cannot use it unless there is an emergency. Okay? my point is right now I'm healthy, no problem, I can use it. I can use my outside money for it. My main worry is lifestyle. After 65, that's when your income reduces, your problems increase like sugar, BP, arthritis, this problem, that problem, you have to go to doctors. That's where my worry is. Right now I'm not at all worried. I have income, I have comfortable lifestyle. I'm an example, they know me. I go on jet ski rides, bike rides, car drives, whatever. Go foreign trips. You can still do all that. And I'm not one of the high paid execs, okay? I'm very normal. So in spite of that, you can enjoy your lifestyle, plus you can invest, okay? So whatever we talk, money in SMSF is only after your retirement. The only thing is how much you save. That's the point. How much you save on the tax. Okay, so one benefit is that. Second benefit is rental income tax at 15%. Okay, that's another thing. So you invest outside of super, okay, the money comes in. So it becomes positive property, okay? You get multiple positive properties, you get $100,000 to you. Okay? So what happens to that $100,000? That gets added to your income. If it's a positive property, you have to keep in mind. Okay? So then what happens? So you pay tax at your marginal rate. Okay? If you're a 42% bracket, you're spending $42,000 tax on that income. Okay? The same thing, if it's in super, of course you can't use it, but if it comes into the super, you're paying only 15% on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So he's a accountant. Okay? So do you see the point? There is huge difference. It's massive. Ability to claim depreciation while the same is not deducted when sold after the retirement, as there is no capital gains tax. This is an interesting one. So there is something called as depreciation component. You might know that. So when you claim depreciation, when you sell the property outside of super, that also is taken into consideration, and you end up paying part of it back. Okay, as it gets added to your capital gains tax. The same thing in super, you still claim depreciation at a lower level because it's 15% bracket, but you don't pay anything back because the capital gains is zero. You see the point? So these things, when you add up, is very, very powerful. Okay.
Can we claim capital gains depreciation on a house?
You can claim depreciation on any of the assets. Any of the assets, okay? The difference is, if it's a new one, you can claim usually a bit higher because of, you can show more wear and tear. If it's an old property, you can claim less. If it's very old property, more than 40 years, probably you can't claim anything.
The first 5 years, you can claim maximum.
7 years, up to 7 years you can claim maximum. And then slowly it keeps reducing.
What if it's a knockdown and rebuild, like you buy a property which is like...
Knockdown is a completely different topic.
Yeah.
Maybe let's not get confused. So let's just leave it aside. I'm happy to answer one-on-one, but nothing to do with this. Because depreciation is for a property, not for knockdown and other things. Okay, depreciation is for a property. So the question is whether it's a new property or it's an old property. Old property, you will still claim, but less. After 40 years, almost nil. So the new property, like zero. Just keep that in mind for now. Okay. So, any questions so far? Any confusion? Or am I confusing you? Is it clear? Okay. So, these are the positive bits. There are also negative bits which people don't cover. Okay. I want to cover the negative bits as well because I want to be neutral. So, higher interest rate, yes, I had it covered already. Somebody was telling, who was asking me? I think was mentioning. So yes, higher interest rate because it's treated as generally as a commercial property. But there are ways you can get around by giving personal guarantee or something else. Okay. But as I mentioned, the saving is so much. Even if you give 8% or 9% interest, it still works out well in general because the saving is so much more. You see the point? So extra paperwork may be involved. So my wife says I don't do anything, but each property you will know how much of work is involved. So there will be work involved. So I've seen people who are like very lazy and they don't do tax return for 3 years and they want to do SMSF. Please don't do it because there will be a lot of paperwork. If you are so lazy, then there's no point doing this because there will be paperwork. You have to do these things. Okay. So that's something you have to program yourself. Obtaining higher LVR may be an issue. For example, outside of SMSF, it's very easy. You can easily get 90-95% depending on your profession. Whereas within SMSF it was very difficult. But today I was very happy to see Raymond's presentation where you can still get higher LVR by going through that process, which I was not aware of. It's good to know. But either way, that's a point to note. LVR usually is less. In general, you'll get about 70% is maximum I can see. I've got 80% in the past from a NAB, but NAB has stopped giving. But other people are giving like 70% easily. 65% is common, 75 is rare, but you can still get it. But in between that, but anything more is difficult.
I still couple of private lender giving 80%.
Yeah, so it may be possible, but in general it's a bit difficult compared to normal property. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Got another 20 minutes.
Yep.
Okay, not all banks may provide loan. That's another problem. Okay, not all banks may provide loan, so very limited choices for you. But again, looking at Raymond's presentation, maybe more options.
Now we have more options.
More options, but either way, less banks compared to normal. So your bargaining will be very limited. So if you have 10 banks giving loan to you, it will be easier for you to bargain. Whereas if there are only 2-3 banks giving, okay, you cannot offset tax offsets or losses from one property against taxable income outside of the fund. I don't want to confuse you too much, but they're treated as entities, separate entities. Okay, so you make a loss here, you're making a profit here, you can't just offset. Okay, because they're separate entities. Just like that.
That means no equity gain.
No. Equity getting and all is separate. It's per property, so that you still get it. But
Still.
yeah.
Inside and outside the.
No, even inside also. So you have to be a bit. Okay, yield example. This I'm trying to give my actual example. Okay, so this one I bought in 2019, which I was talking about. So I hope this is useful. I don't know. I just put it in. I'm thinking that it may be useful. I'm doing it for the first time, so I don't know whether it will be useful.
But we have just 15.
That's okay, because we have the questions answered already.
Yeah.
We don't have much time.
Okay.
Because this I think is very important for people to understand how things work. So budget was like 396. I bought a house and land. Purchase price after taking the setup cost with stamp duty, it was like 401,000. So outgoings was 17,000. The interest is about 5% currently. So your outgoings are $17,000. Rates and other water about $3,000. Insurance and property management $1,700 plus $670. And yearly outgoing is $22,000. So weekly outgoing is $439 per week. Is that clear? Any questions? Okay, income. Weekly rent is 580 as of now, and it's going to go up highly. In fact, he was insisting to make it 600. I told the management agent to keep it less because I prefer longer, good tenants paying a little bit less than short-term rent tenants paying more and damaging the property and going away. You know what I mean? I prefer long-term tenants. So I reduce it, but even if you keep it at 580, 29,000 is the yearly income. So initial shortfall is -7, which means it's a positive income. So this is not very old. People say it takes 10 years to become positive, 7 years to become positive. Now this is 19, so 4 years it's become positive. Okay. The only problem is people expect linear growth in the property. So I always tell it's never the linear growth. It's nothing. Suddenly it goes boom. Okay. By the time everybody realizes it's going up and they buy, it's nothing again. It goes again. So that's you have to set your mind. That is the way it works. It doesn't go linear. I've seen many people. They waited for 2-3 years, they lost patience, they sold it off. I've seen many people. And then after that sold, it went up. So it can happen. So there's an example is sold as well. So I'm just giving practical examples so that you know what to expect, what to do. Okay. So this is with the tax benefits. 8,000 is the positive. Okay, after taking this tax, why I still get positive instead of paying 7,000 is the positive income. Why am I getting more tax benefit? I should be paying more tax on that, right? So the reason is because we claim something as depreciation, which is something which we don't incur in the beginning. We still show a loss to the tax office. This is fantastic. Okay. So sometimes, like when I go for a new application, they get confused because I got like too many properties. I show a loss on each property, 13,000 loss, 12,000 loss, 11,000, which I don't actually make, but for tax purposes, it's a loss. So when they look at my taxable income, it's very less because I've shown too many tax losses. Okay, so that's the way to make money in this country legally, and that's allowed. So, okay, refund calculation with just skip that one basically. This is another different one with NRAS property, which I have. NRAS is National Rental Affordability Scheme. It's not there anymore. The reason I put it is because I'll just give a very quick example. So when I bought this property in 14, it's about 9 years ago, It's a 360,000 waterfront 2-bedroom apartment. Close to the hospital, close to waterfront. 360, you can't believe it. This is the Sunshine Coast. Way too beautiful. And then the market rate was 400. So my thumb rule is if I invest 360 per week, $360,000, I should get a rental return of 360 per week. That equals to something like 4.6% returns. That's fantastic. If it comes more, it's even better. Okay. So for me, 360 and 400 was fantastic, very good already. But this was under NRAS scheme. So NRAS was a scheme introduced by government because they realized there was a shortage of properties and not enough people were investing. Okay. So the key was I had to give a 20% discount. So for $400 per week, I give a discount of 20%, which means I lose $80. So I get $320. For losing $80, the government will give me $213 per week tax-free. So that's $11,100 tax-free per year. That's amazing. Okay. So I get the negative gearing. I get additional negative gearing because I'm giving a discount to the tenant, and my income is positive, but I don't pay tax on that because it's tax-free grant. Okay. And from the tenant perspective, there's $400 rent apartment. Next to that is $400 minus $320 in the same building. So this is always occupied because if he goes somewhere else, he has to pay more. And now the same one is about 540, the single bedroom. The double bedroom is 540. But you see the point, right? So the reason why that scheme is gone, it's not there anymore. Only had a short period and they removed it. The reason I'm mentioning it here because the situation was very similar. There were people coming in, less properties, rents were high, so they had to do something. So that's why government introduced the scheme. Now the situation is exactly the same. People are coming in, less people are investing in property because they're worried about interest rates. So now they might come up with something similar, not necessarily the same scheme, but something similar. So keep in mind, if something comes up, you can grab. Just be ready.
NDIS.
NDIS personally, I'm not very happy because one thing, the websites are not very clear. If you look at 10 websites, there's no one authentic website. There are 10 websites. If you go with 10 websites, the information is different in all of them. What I'm not comfortable, I will not invest. But that's my policy. Maybe it's very good, too good to be true, but if I don't understand, I will not invest. Very simple. But this one, NDIS, I saw a lot. I was not very clear. I didn't invest. But maybe if you think it's good, you can. All right. I think we're got for 30 minutes. I'll just 1 or 2 minutes. I'll finish it off. I'll just only cover the critical bits. Okay, interest rate. This is one thing which people are asking. Okay, Murthy sir, the interest rate has gone up dramatically. Oh no, stop investing. What a crap. Government is crap. RBI is crap. They talk because they see this graph, and then usually I send them a picture immediately and then say this is what is the current situation. So this is where the interest rates were. Okay, see where we are. Okay, so don't complain. We're still better off compared to where we were. Okay, so yes, it has gone up, but looking at what it was, and this is all fact, I'm not making up any numbers. See, this is from actual newspaper, 17% interest rate. This is 94, 95, if you might remember. So it can happen, it can go high, okay? So what we are seeing now is not too bad. It's like, that is what it is. We can't change that, macroeconomics, I can't go and tell RBI governor what to do. So they will do it. You just have to work around your brain and see what can I do differently to address that problem. Okay, so generally what happens is the interest rate goes up, we charge more to the lender. Very simple. Okay, whether they like it or not, I see in the group people keep whinging and talking, these bloody landlords, and I can't help it. Bank charges me, I have to do something. I can't lose my money. So